Welcome to our deep dive into natural nootropics. So we're talking about brain-boosting substances, but the ones found in nature. You've been doing some research on how to enhance your cognitive function naturally, and we're here to kind of help you sift through all the science and really discover some of the gems out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of information and a lot of hype around nootropics, but it is important to separate the facts from the hype, especially when it comes to something as important as your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly are nootropics, and what kinds of effects do they have on the brain?
Sure. Well, nootropics are essentially compounds that can enhance your cognitive function. They can be natural or synthetic, but we'll be talking about natural nootropics today. And some of the key areas they affect are memory, focus, learning, and they can even protect against cognitive decline. You can think of them as tools to fine-tune your mental performance.
Okay, cool. So I'm hearing that we're focusing on the natural nootropics today. So things that we might find in our diets or through herbal supplements.
That's right. We're going to be looking at the substances found in nature that research has shown to have promising effects on the brain.
Okay, that's really helpful. So it's not about like a quick fix or just a temporary boost, but actually potentially supporting long-term brain health.
Yeah, exactly. And to understand those long-term benefits, we need to talk about neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to rewire itself and adapt throughout our lives. It's the basis of learning. And it's the reason why we can continue to improve our cognitive abilities as we age.
So neuroplasticity, it's basically like our brain is constantly evolving and reshaping itself based on like our experiences and what we learn.
Precisely. And the exciting thing about certain nootropics is that they can actually support this process. They can help to grow new neurons, strengthen the connections between those neurons, and even protect brain cells from damage.
Wow. So it's almost like giving our brains the building blocks they need and the support they need to like thrive and adapt.
Ex-
That's amazing. I'm curious to get into some specific examples. So what are some of the natural nootropics that have really caught your eye in the research?
Well, let's start with Ginkgo biloba. It's a powerful herb that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries. It's actually a symbol of longevity and vitality. And modern research suggests that it might actually stimulate the production of new brain cells.
Ginkgo biloba. I've definitely heard that one mentioned in relation to memory. What does the research say about that?
So there's evidence that Ginkgo biloba can enhance certain aspects of memory, particularly short-term memory. Some studies suggest that taking 120 to 240 milligrams of ginkgo can improve recall.
Interesting. So maybe not a bad thing to take before like a big test or a presentation.
Yeah, could be worth trying. But remember, more isn't always better. For overall cognitive health and protection against age-related decline, a lower daily dose, maybe around 40 to 120 milligrams, might be more beneficial.
Okay, so it's not about that quick fix. It's about consistency. Okay, ginkgo, that's definitely one to keep in mind for memory. What other natural nootropics are kind of making waves in the research?
Let's move on to Tanshinone III. It's a compound extracted from a Chinese herb called Salvia milturiza. And what's really intriguing about this one is its potential to boost blood flow to the brain.
Okay, so how does increased blood flow actually benefit our brain function?
Well, you can think of your brain as this complex network. It's constantly sending and receiving signals. And for it to work efficiently, it needs a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients.
So Tangent IIA is kind of like a delivery system, making sure that the brain gets what it needs to function at its best.
Exactly. And studies have shown that improved blood flow is linked to better cognitive performance. And it may even protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Wow, so we're talking about potentially protecting the brain from serious conditions with a natural substance. That's incredible. Okay, so what other natural nootropic heroes are out there?
Let's talk about lion's mane mushroom. It's a real powerhouse when it comes to protecting brain cells. It's packed with beta-glucans, which are known for their neuroprotective properties.
Lion's mane mushroom. Okay, that's a new one for me. So what makes this mushroom so special for the brain?
It's all about supporting the growth and survival of neurons. Lion's mane stimulates the production of nerve growth factor, or NGF, which is a protein that's crucial for healthy neurons. And it also plays a role in myelin production.
Myelin, I've heard of that before. That's the coating around our nerve fibers that helps signals travel faster, right?
That's right. So lion's mane enhances this insulation, so to speak, allowing for smoother and faster communication within the brain. And it also helps reduce inflammation, which is a factor in many brain-related diseases.
Wow, so lion's mane is like a multitasker. It's protecting neurons, boosting communication, and fighting inflammation. What kind of dosage are we talking about here to get these cognitive benefits?
Studies suggest a range of 750 milligrams to 3 grams per day, and there's even some promising research on its potential role in addressing early dementia.
That's amazing. This is making me want to add lion's mane mushroom to my grocery list. All right, what other natural nootropics should we have on our radar?
Let's talk about maca. It's a plant native to the Andes Mountains in Peru. While it's often associated with increased energy and libido, research suggests that it might have some interesting cognitive benefits as well.
Maca, I've heard of that one, but mostly in relation to energy and vitality. So how does that translate to enhancing cognitive function?
Well, our brains are incredibly energy-demanding organs. They require a constant supply of fuel to function optimally.
Right. So maca's energy-boosting properties could be providing that extra fuel the brain needs to perform at its best.
That's one theory. Studies have shown that maca, in doses of 1 to 3 grams daily, might enhance memory and learning capacity.
Wow, that's fascinating. So if our brain is running low on energy, it can actually affect our ability to think clearly and retain information.
Exactly. And maca, being an adaptogen, can also help the body cope with stress, which can further contribute to cognitive well-being.
It's like giving our brains that extra energy they need to stay resilient, especially when faced with everyday challenges. I like it. Okay, what's next on our natural nootropics exploration?
Let's delve into Bacopa monnieri. It's a revered herb in Ayurvedic medicine. And while its mechanisms are still being studied, research suggests that it offers targeted protection to key areas of the brain involved in behavior, reward circuits, and memory consolidation.
Memory consolidation. That sounds important. Can you remind me what that is again?
Sure. It's the process of converting short-term memories into long-term memories. Imagine it as the brain's filing system, taking information from temporary storage and moving it to a more permanent location for retrieval later on. Bacopa monnieri appears to strengthen this system, making it easier to retain information over time.
So Bacopa is like the personal organizer for our memories, making sure that things get filed away properly.
Exactly, and that's just scratching the surface of what we know about these fascinating natural substances.
This is all so fascinating. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already. But before we move on, is there anything else that we need to consider when it comes to maximizing our brain power? Is it as simple as just taking these nootropics?
Well, while individual nootropics can offer some impressive benefits, they actually work best when combined with other nutrients and lifestyle factors that create an ideal environment for your brain to thrive.
So it's about a more holistic approach, rather than just focusing on one magic bullet.
Exactly. You can think of it like building a strong foundation for a house. You need the right materials and support systems for it to stand tall and weather any storms.
I love that analogy. It's about giving our brains the right support to function at their best. So what are some of these key elements that can really amplify the effects of nootropics? What else should we be adding to our brain-boosting toolkit, so to speak?
Well, one area we can explore is the role of B vitamins. They act as catalysts in cellular energy production. Remember how we talked about the brain being a high-energy organ?
Right, it's like a brain marathon, constantly needing fuel to keep going.
Exactly. B vitamins ensure that our brain cells have the energy they need to function properly. And B12 in particular is a real standout. It's linked to mood regulation, memory function, focus, and even dementia prevention.
So B vitamins are like the pit crew for our brain marathon, making sure we have the energy to stay in the race.
I like that. And speaking of building blocks, let's not forget about essential amino acids. They're the raw materials our brains use to create neurotransmitters.
Neurotransmitters, those are the chemical messengers that allow our brain cells to communicate.
Precisely. And without enough of the right amino acids, this communication can get disrupted. Interestingly, some research suggests that certain amino acids might even help to balance out the negative effects of synthetic nootropics, like modafinil.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a buffer, protecting our brains from potential downsides. What are some of those amino acids that are particularly important for cognitive function?
Two that stand out are acetyl L-carnitine and L-tyrosine. Acetyl L-carnitine is interesting because it plays a role in both fat burning and mental energy. It helps transport fatty acids into the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of our cells, where they're converted into energy.
So it's like giving our brain cells a direct energy boost. I can see how that would be helpful for focus and mental stamina.
Exactly. And then there's L-tyrosine, which is a precursor to dopamine, a neurotransmitter that is associated with motivation and reward. When we're stressed or sleep-deprived, our dopamine levels can dip, leading to that all-too-familiar feeling of brain fog and lack of motivation.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Deadlines and late nights can really take their toll, so L-tyrosine could help us stay on track and motivated, even when we're feeling the pressure.
That's the idea. It helps replenish dopamine levels, giving you that extra push to power through demanding tasks.
Okay, I'm adding those to my mental stamina toolkit. Acetyl L-carnitine and L-tyrosine. But what about those times when, stress and anxiety are making it really hard to focus? What can we do then?
Magnesium is a real superstar when it comes to managing stress and anxiety. It plays a crucial role in regulating neurotransmitters that are involved in mood and relaxation.
I've also heard that magnesium can be helpful for sleep, which is obviously so important for brain function.
Absolutely. Quality sleep is essential for cognitive performance. When we're well rested, our brains can consolidate memories, process information efficiently, and really function at their peak. And magnesium can definitely contribute to better sleep.
So magnesium is like a multitasking superhero for the stressed out brain. Are there any specific types of magnesium that are particularly beneficial for cognitive support?
Magnesium threonate is a great option. It's a form of magnesium that readily crosses the blood-brain barrier, making it more available to the brain.
Oh, so it's like a VIP pass, delivering calming and restorative effects right where they're needed most. What kind of benefits can we expect to see from magnesium threonate?
Studies suggest that it can improve sleep quality, reduce anxiety, and enhance cognitive function.
This is all incredibly helpful, but we've been focusing a lot on what we put into our bodies. Are there any lifestyle changes that can actually amplify these effects and really supercharge our neuroplasticity?
Absolutely. Remember, lifestyle plays a key role in shaping our brains. Think of it as setting the stage for these nutrients to work their magic.
Okay, let's talk lifestyle hacks. What are some simple yet effective things that we can do to optimize our brain environment?
Well, exercise is at the top of the list. Both weight training and high-intensity interval training have been shown to stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF.
BDNF, that sounds familiar. Didn't we talk about that earlier?
Yes, it's like fertilizer for the brain, promoting the growth of new brain cells and strengthening the connections between them.
So hitting the gym isn't just good for our bodies, it's a workout for our brains too. Are there any specific types of exercise that are especially beneficial for BDNF production?
Both weightlifting and high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, are great for boosting BDNF. And you don't need to spend hours at the gym to reap the benefits. Even short bursts of activity can make a difference.
Oh, that's good to know. So even a few minutes of intense exercise can give our brains a boost.
That's right.
What are some other ways we can incorporate exercise into our daily routine to support our cognitive function?
Try incorporating short bursts of exercise throughout your workday or study sessions. You could do a few sets of push-ups, jumping jacks, or even a quick run up and down the stairs.
So instead of reaching for another cup of coffee when I hit that afternoon slump, I should do a few jumping jacks. I love that.
Exactly. Think of it as a mini workout for your brain. These short bursts of activity can increase alertness, improve focus, and even spark creativity.
These are such practical and actionable tips. Okay, so we've got exercise covered. What about meditation? We talked about its benefits for neuroplasticity earlier, but how can we realistically make it a part of our busy lives?
Well, even just a few minutes of meditation each day can make a big difference. You can try guided meditations. Focus on your breath. Or simply sit in stillness and observe your thoughts.
I've heard that there are even apps that can guide you through meditations.
Yes, there are many great resources available. The key is to find what works for you and stick with it. Consistency is key, just like with exercise.
So find a style of meditation that resonates with you and make it a regular practice.
Got it. We've talked about exercise, meditation. What about diet? Are there any brain-boosting foods that we should be prioritizing?
We already talked about the importance of omega-3 fatty acids for brain health. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are excellent sources, but you can also find them in plant-based foods like walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds.
Yeah, I love adding those to my smoothies and salads. What about other brain-boosting foods? What else should we be loading up on?
Berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, are packed with antioxidants, which help protect brain cells from damage.
Berries are delicious and good for the brain. It's a win-win. And don't forget about leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, and collard greens. They're full of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that are essential for brain health.
Okay, so we've got our nootropics toolkit, our exercise and meditation strategies, and a brain-boosting diet. Is there anything else we should keep in mind as we embark on this journey to enhance our cognitive function?
It's important to remember that natural nootropics aren't a quick fix. They work best when combined with a holistic approach to health and well-being.
So it's about creating a sustainable lifestyle that supports both our physical and mental health. It's not just about popping a pill, but making mindful choices to nurture our brains over the long term.
Exactly. It's about nourishing our brains from the inside out. And while natural nootropics can be powerful tools, it's always a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplements, especially if you have any underlying health conditions or are taking medications.
That's a great reminder. It's always best to be informed and make sure that these natural substances are right for you. It sounds like this journey to a sharper, more resilient mind is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a great way to put it. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes that support your brain health over time.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools and strategies to support my brain health.
I'm glad to hear that. It's always rewarding to share knowledge that can empower people to take control of their cognitive health.
And speaking of empowerment, I think it's time to shift gears and offer our listeners some final thoughts and takeaways. What are some key things they should remember as they continue to explore the world of natural nootropics?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's important to approach this journey with a curious and critical mind. Don't just accept everything you read or hear at face value. Do your research. Look for reputable sources. And be discerning about the information that you encounter.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's really easy to get caught up in the hype, especially when we're talking about brain health.
Absolutely. And another important point is that everyone's brain is unique. What works wonders for one person might not have the same effect on another. So it's essential to pay attention to how your own body responds to different nootropics and different lifestyle changes, and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, you've got to find what works for you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to brain health.
Precisely. And finally, I would say don't underestimate the power of consistency. Just like with exercise or a healthy diet, the benefits of nootropics and brain-boosting lifestyle changes really tend to accumulate over time.
It's about building those healthy habits and sticking with them for the long haul.
Exactly. It's a lifelong endeavor.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools and strategies to support my brain health.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. It's always rewarding to share knowledge that can empower people to take control of their cognitive health.
And speaking of empowerment, I wanted to leave our listeners with a final thought, something to kind of spark their curiosity and inspire further exploration. You know, we've talked about the potential of these individual nootropics and the importance of like a holistic approach. But what if the real magic lies in combining these elements strategically?
That's a really intriguing idea. It's like creating a personalized nootropic stack, tailored to an individual's unique needs and goals.
Exactly. Like composing a symphony of brain-boosting elements, with each element playing a specific role, and creating a harmonious and powerful effect.
Right. Imagine combining the memory-enhancing properties of Ginkgo Biloba with the neuroprotective power of lion's mane mushroom, all while supporting energy levels with Maca and B vitamins, and then layering in those lifestyle elements that we discussed: exercise, meditation, a brain-healthy diet, to create a truly holistic approach to cognitive enhancement.
It's like creating a masterpiece for the mind, carefully selecting the notes and rhythms to achieve the desired effect.
And, just like with music, there's an art to finding the right blend. It takes experimentation, observation, and a willingness to fine-tune the composition until it resonates perfectly with your individual needs.
So as we conclude this deep dive, I want to encourage you, our listener, to embrace this idea of a nootropic symphony, explore the possibilities, experiment with different combinations, and pay attention to the feedback that your body and mind provide. Remember, the journey to a sharper, more resilient mind is an ongoing exploration, an adventure filled with fascinating discoveries and endless possibilities.
And remember, we're all in this together. Share your experiences, support one another, and let's continue to unlock the incredible potential of our brains.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of natural nootropics. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those minds expanding.